Hi, my name is Elise Selinger, and I'm a real estate innovation manager at 2Life. 2Life Communities is a nonprofit senior housing developer, owner, and operator operating throughout Greater Boston. And I'm here to show you two projects that I've had the pleasure of working on. A renovation for Coleman House, which is a HUD subsidized senior living community that serves very low and extremely low income seniors. And Opus Newton, which is 2Life's first in the nation middle market senior living community that is currently under construction.
Well, that is awesome. Elise, let me first of all say hello, because I haven't seen you in a while, and welcome to Unplanned.
Thank you. So glad to be here.
Well, this is super exciting, and we're going to get in, you're going to walk us around, you're going to show us what we're looking at, and you're going to talk about housing, and particularly housing for for seniors and for
Yes.
elderly. So where do we want to start?
We're here in Newton, Massachusetts, and this is Coleman House. It is 146 very low and extremely low income apartments for seniors, subsidized by the federal, state, and local agencies. All seniors who live here have vouchers, so they only pay 30% of their income. Furthermore, all of the apartments were recently renovated to be adaptable. So we have showers instead of tubs, we have removable cabinets so that walkers and wheelchairs can fit under. Everything is easily within reach, and it's so that everyone can live in the apartment for their full life. Our goal at 2Life is that your apartment should never be a reason why you need to move out.
Talk to us a little bit about, not specifically who's living here, but sort of who is that person who is going to get housing here, and tell us a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. So, the economic profile of seniors is very different from working families. So seniors live on fixed incomes, primarily with just Social Security. And Social Security these days, if you worked, averages in the high 20,000s and low 30,000s. But with the current generation that's living in our communities, many, in particular of the women, didn't work. So they have some of the lowest Social Securities. If they were single,
so just to clarify, that's
sure.
$20,000 to $30,000
per
annual.
year. Annual,
Yeah.
yes, not monthly.
To live off of, that would be what they...
To live off of. And so you can imagine when you need to cover your health insurance, your food, all of your daily needs, it's not enough. And so to be able to live with dignity and sustainably, the housing vouchers are so important for many of the residents that live here in Coleman House. Significant part of the way we think about seniors' economic security is wealth. People in the US don't talk about wealth very much, but it becomes particularly important and pressing as you retire, because Social Security is so nominal and was never designed to cover your full needs when the program was created in the 1900s. So almost all of the seniors who live at Coleman House very likely were renters for their full lives and did not have that wealth from home ownership. The Opus Newton model, which we'll talk about in a minute, is going to be primarily occupied by former homeowners selling single-family or multifamily homes.
So how does this work in this case, in the Coleman case? If you're only getting $20,000 or $30,000 a year, that doesn't seem like enough to even buy food for a year. So,
correct.
How does the whole portfolio work? How do you guys make it work?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that, so this is actually something I did my thesis on at MIT, is senior economic profiles and senior economic security. When you're low enough income, you can qualify for housing vouchers, you can qualify for Medicaid, you can qualify for food stamps. So you can have that kind of wraparound welfare subsidy support. If you find yourself in the middle, where you may still qualify for the housing voucher, but you might be over income for Medicaid or over income for food stamps, that's where seniors really get stuck and often might move in with family or move in with friends just to make ends meet. There's a missing middle that our society still needs to solve for seniors.
And how does 2Life address that? Because you are
Yes.
providing housing for these people.
We are. So many of our Coleman House residents fall into all three, not protected groups, get all three benefits. They get housing vouchers, they get the food stamps, and they're on Medicaid. So they are set up with full supports and services. We do have some properties that are newer in our portfolio where we have residents who do receive subsidized housing, but they're over income for Medicaid and for food stamps. We help support them through partnerships with food pantries and with local grocery stores. And we're also doing incredibly innovative work with healthcare partners and insurers to try to extend an advocacy effort on the state level. We have a chief of advocacy to extend healthcare supports and services to those who are over income for Medicaid. Life also has identified a gap in the middle market. So those who are not eligible for any subsidies, not housing subsidies, not healthcare subsidies, but the true middle. They can't afford the luxury senior housing options on the market, nor are they eligible for other opportunities. And so for the past 9 years, and it will be 10 when it's complete, we've developed Opus Newton. Opus Newton is over here to your right. It's under construction. It's about 30-40% complete. And so Opus Newton is the first in the nation to create a CCRC that is for the middle market.
You gotta tell us what that is.
Sorry, a continuing care retirement community, sometimes called a life plan community. It's the first in the country that's doing two things as opposed to just middle market. So we're serving middle market seniors with moderate wealth, and we are also building an apartment for life, so that we're not building multiple levels of care, but just one level of care, and all care and supports are going to come into residents in their own apartments, rather than moving from independent living to assisted living, maybe to memory care or to skilled nursing.
So they'll be in a single place
in their apartment
for their
entire lives. Yep.
And then the care, as it were, will come to them.
Correct. The site that we just loved was adjacent to Coleman House and on the campus of the Jewish Community Center of Greater Boston. What we're able to achieve here is creating an income-inclusive community between our very low and extremely low-income seniors at Coleman House and our middle, moderate wealth seniors here in Opus Newton. So they will be connected physically through a campus center, which is this hole in the middle that's yet to be built. The two apartment buildings will come together and have one operational staff team and then one suite of amenities for everyone to share. It's about 30,000 square feet of amenities for everyone.
So what you're saying that right through there, in that sort of gap that's there right now,
yep,
is going to be the
campus center, the Manhattan Campus Center.
Interesting.
Yep.
And the goal is to have a place where people can come together from
Correct.
all different.
Yep.
And that's amazing.
Yeah.
And when is that slated to get underway?
This campus center, the concrete footings are going in now, and it will be done. It'll rise structurally around the summer.
Been related to all this work. Let's hear a little bit more about you, because you've got an interesting story, and part of what makes you interesting, I hate to say it, is that I'll change this word, you're a girl in construction.
I am a girl in construction. I'm a woman in construction.
You're a woman in construction.
And actually in March is Women's History Month, and there's a week specifically dedicated to women in construction. And we celebrate that at 2 Life in particular because our entire real estate development team is comprised of women, which is very cool.
Wait, say that one more time.
At 2 Life Communities, our entire real estate development team is comprised of women, and our CEO and our president are also women, overseeing this almost $750 million worth of real estate development over the past 10 years.
Wow.
Which is very cool.
That is very cool. So tell us, how did you get into it?
So I decided to become a real estate developer because I've always been interested in social and economic justice issues and been interested in the built environment. I had exposure to working on policy issues and legal governance in my first job in New York City, where I worked with limited equity housing cooperatives. That was a fabulous job at the Urban Homesteading Assistance Board.
Yeah. Wait, we got a nice huge truck coming in, and since we are on a construction site, it's always fun to see the equipment that comes in.
Maybe we should
go
inside and come back
That's
outside.
fine, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. We're going into Coleman House, right?
Yeah, Coleman House. This is our Opus Marketing Center, and we have a welcome wall kind of describing the history of 2 Life, the history of the organization, our leader, Amy Scheckman, our president and CEO. And then we have a gallery. So Opus Newton started marketing in the fall of 2021. We initially took $500 fully refundable deposits, and once that phase of work was complete, we were able to take full reservations, and within about 1 year, all 164 available middle income apartments, because we also have 10 inclusionary apartments set aside by the city of Newton. All of them were spoken for within 1 year's time prior to groundbreaking, which is an unprecedented feat and really speaks to the strength of our marketing and sales team here.
So you were sold out in effect
before breaking ground.
Now tell us about Opus. So it's a different clientele, if you will. It's a different person who's going to be in there, at least in terms of income and money. And who is that person?
Yeah, so the vast majority of our middle, moderate wealth seniors that are planning to move in with us at Opus own single-family homes, primarily in the greater Boston area, but also just kind of generally in the Northeast. Many of them are members of a couple, but many are also singles, and they're all looking for community. So one of the hallmarks of Opus, yes, is that it's a more affordable price point. Yes, it's that the apartments are designed to be sure that your physical needs are always met. But most importantly, and the most desirable aspect of Opus is community. Everyone comes here looking for community, to participate in a community. Loneliness is the greatest threat to seniors currently. It's as bad as smoking a pack of cigarettes every day. And one of the key ways that Opus Newton is different and fosters community is volunteerism is actually required at Opus. So all residents will volunteer to participate in the life of the community in a way that speaks to them and meets their talents and their passions. Some might help run the library on site. Others may sit at the welcome desk. Others might choose to be a friendly visitor for seniors who might have had a hip operation and are coming home from the hospital. So everyone will volunteer in a way that is meaningful to them and speaks to their talents and their motivations.
That's incredible. And what can you show us in here?
So I can show you our scale model. You should start by standing actually here.
Okay, we're flying around the building now.
So Coleman House is the red building on the right.
Okay.
And then we have our Manhattan Campus Center in the middle, which is the shared campus amenity space.
Right.
Yep.
Which was that gap that we saw from the outside. Okay.
And then we have the Opus Newton apartments around here.
So this building that you're pointing at right now, that's the building that's going up.
These are all the apartments.
And that's the concrete we saw outside. That's going to go up to 8 stories here.
Yep.
Wow.
And then this is the courtyard that will be available to everyone, Coleman residents and Opus residents, with some raised gardening, an area for gatherings and sitting. We have a nice extensive sidewalk path network. And then on the back side of the Manhattan Campus Center is a dining terrace and kind of a green green space for gathering.
So we're here. That's the terrace and the green space
Yep.
for gathering. So just to get back to you for a second.
Sure.
So how did you? I mean, these are big projects,
Yes.
and that's a lot of responsibility. It seems to be thinking about and to be worrying about. So how did you get to where you are, and what would you share with the wider world for people who are also, maybe for women who are also interested in construction but feel like maybe it's not, sort of a man's world kind
Hanging
of
out. It is still a bit of a man's world. 90% of my colleagues and coworkers are men. But I think I'll back up. I am a big fan of team sports. I've always been on team sports, appreciate the mentality of team working together. Defense wins championships. And a lot of that hangs true for going about construction. If you build a great team, if you invest in each other personally, if you recognize each other's strengths and help foster and build on them, and you bring all of that to what's called the owner-architect construction team, that's the tight-knit integral team. I'm the owner as Two Life Communities. We have our architect Perkins Eastman, and we have our contractor Delbrook JKS, and together we form a great team. You're going to be set up for success. So just be ready to have a football team of guys and girls all working together to work through challenges, because there's always a challenge, whether it's materials delay from COVID supply chain issues, whether there's a shortage of labor because there's too many construction projects going on and you're competing for man and woman power, whether there's permitting delays with the city because there's too much affordable housing being built. Maybe we can dream. There's always challenges to work through, but when you help enable everyone to work to their strengths, you can get a great job pulled together. We have a really nice picture window where you can get a better image of the wood frame.
So this is the build. So right now we're looking out where your campus center is going to go.
Correct.
And then over here is the building that you're in the middle of building.
Yep. And we're up to the 5th floor that you can see being built, and we have one more floor to go on the east side. We're building Opus Newton in 2 phases just because it's so large. So we're building the east side first, and then we'll be constructing the west side.
That's incredible. And it sounds like you were, obviously COVID is still lingering out there, but it's nothing like it was a couple of years ago.
Nothing like it was before.
And what was that like? That must have been really
Supply
intense.
chain issues, I would say, were the most challenging and critical on the utility side. So getting electrical power, because many of us were moving away from gas towards all electric, getting the transformers, getting the switch gears, there were significant, sometimes year-long plus lead times. And we have another project at Two Life Communities, Leland House, where the switchgear was ordered before the project even closed on its financing because the lead time for the electrical equipment was so significant.
I know you're actually, your tenure here is over because you're heading off to a different thing. What are you heading off to do?
Yeah, so in just about a week, I'll be moving on actually from Opus Newton and have a fabulous colleague that'll be stepping in for me. I'll be going to MIT and working as their Director of Residential Renewal and Renovation, supporting their pipeline of dorm renovations. So MIT has about 6,000 beds and is developing a pipeline to renovate their dorms and also almost completely decarbonize their dorms where possible. So it's a very exciting next step.
And that's what you're going to be doing.
Yep.
Wow, that's very impressive.
Yeah.
Well, Elise, first of all, it's great to see you again. But I also just want to thank you again for being on.
And I'm so glad you could come and kind of take this in a snapshot, a moment in time for this community. And certainly we'll welcome all of you back in the summer or fall of 2025 when the ribbon cutting happens and everyone moves in and enjoys their new apartments.
That sounds great.
Yeah.